I just turned 57, guys. So for a week, I was walking on clouds. You know, I think you could have felt it if you watched the podcast. Maybe you couldn't. For a week, I was walking on clouds, not because I was happy I was turning 57, but because I couldn't believe I made it to 57. And the funniest thing about that is that now what I didn't see happen to me, I'm watching in front of me happen to kids that I met 10 years ago on a joke at a one-man show, at an open mic, or I met them at the Improv doing a spot, or in Santa Barbara, or I met Freddie in Reno 7 years ago or something. He opened for me or something. And then we talked a little bit, and he wanted to further his career, and he moved to Vegas, and he chases it. He's got a house and a wife and a day job. He started his day job?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, this guy chases it. So when you watch people grow, it's and you're growing at the same time, it's kind of weird. It kind of, you're like, man, I'm getting old. Me and Freddie worked 7 years ago, 6 years ago in Reno, 5 years, whatever the hell it was. It's so weird how for a week I was, listen, birthdays, I don't care about birthdays. I stopped caring about birthdays when I was 13, all right? It was just, it's the truth. I could care less. People having birthday parties and, you know, let's meet me at a restaurant at 7:30. You know, are you crazy? It's Wednesday. I ain't got time to meet you at 7:30 because you're turning 50. I'm not one of those people. I could care less. But it was just weird that for some reason I never thought I'd make it past 50. And now I'm 57 years old, and you know, I haven't had like a what do you call that? When men at 50 have
midlife crisis.
A midlife crisis. The only midlife crisis I've had is watching you people with your expressions on your faces when I'm up on stage. You know, last night I had a spot at the store. Saturday night I had to follow Benji Ruffalo, whatever his name is, who I think is hilarious, and. You know, I don't think they were prepared for me. It was so weird how they were not prepared for me. I was in a weird spot in the lineup. Adam put me up at 8:45, which is like, you know, it was just too early for me. Like 8:40, you know, like Dracula don't come out till midnight. Like I'm safe after 9:45 at the store. 8:45, they're still a little ripe for me. And I went up there and I wanted to try new jokes, and I didn't do the best set of my life, but I imposed my will. Like I let it be known that I was in the room. They didn't really take the ride with me too much. On the way home, I felt happy. Like I was like, oh my God, because it's tough to understand what the mindset was with Mitzi Shore. I don't give Mitzi Shore enough credit all the time because I didn't realize the power of Mitzi Shore till after I taped my Netflix special. I heard everything she told me throughout the years in my fucking head. I'm going to tell you guys a funny story that a lot of people don't know that me and Ari were talking about Sunday morning. Do you know that in like 1995, she threw the industry out of there?
What do you mean? How could
she told the industry to take a hike?
So like any agents.
So do you understand? Like people at home that don't understand. Think about if you have people who control you at work. You know how like you have bosses. If you work in a cubicle or you're a plumber or whatever the hell you are, you have a boss, and then he has bosses, right? Like she wouldn't let those bosses onto the job site. Like she told them no comps for industry. If you want to get in here, you pay like everybody else. So it shunned the industry away from the store. So for years, if you told an agent or a manager, you know, I'm doing a showcase, come see me, and they'd go to the store, they'd go, nah, we're not going down there. And they'd make up an excuse that they have dinner at the Improv, do it at the Improv, call them when it's at the Improv. And that was because in 95, she threw them out. In 99, she threw them out again because they were going to do this show called The Night of 1,000 Guidos. Dom Herrera and all these people were going to come, and they wanted to set 100 seats aside for the industry. And at 3:30, she said, fuck you. You're paying for tickets. People were livid. Like comics were crying, the whole thing. But that was Mitzi. I asked her one day, I go, why don't you want the industry here? Because she goes, it creeps you guys out. And I was like, it does? And she goes, yeah, it creeps you guys out. When I shot the Netflix special, I realized she was right. It creeped me the fuck out. It creeped me out when you feel somebody has control over you. Like I don't know. It's the weirdest feeling. You know, I learned to get up on stage in front of her. That was horrible for me. That was horrible. Guys, you have no idea how horrible that is. That was the hardest thing you had to do in your life in those days. When you were on stage and you saw her walked in and she sit down, I would die. I would die right on stage. Like a couple weeks ago, Lee went down to San Diego with his mom, and they were having a good night. And Steve Simone was very nice, and he asked Lee to open up the show. And before this, for the last 3 weeks, I have been laughing at this by myself because I know, I tell you guys that if you're an accountant or a banker, once somebody comes to you with a problem, you've been doing it so long, you could figure it out. You could tell them the answer just from listening to what they're telling you. You know, Lee calls me up. I go, how'd you do? That Monday night, he had gone up at the Comedy Store. He did great. I think it was a Tuesday or Wednesday. He went to La Jolla, and he said he did the same set. But on the way up, something happened on the way to dance. When he got to La Jolla, Lee was all ready. His mom was in the audience. He's ready to go up on stage. And the guy is playing the piano and he's singing songs. Right? The guy just sits there for an hour in La Jolla. And between you and me, you want to shoot yourself. He's the nicest guy in the world. I love him to death. I've known him for 20 years, 20 plus years. He's Vicky Barber, ex-husband. But he's up there playing the piano. Oh, that old black magic got me in its spell. And after 20 minutes, you want to shoot yourself. You're like, why am I listening to this bar mitzvah music for? So anyway, he plays the music. He does a great job with it. He really does. He's playing the piano. He's like a one-man band. And every once in a while, he brings his guitar player friend who looks like he's 3 days from dying from cancer. Was he down there that night?
No, just him.
Play the guitar. He's got like a guitar friend that looks like he's 3 days away from chemo. Like he's done. Even the chemo threw him out. They were like, listen, we can't do that with you. This guy's a relic, and he's up there like playing the electric guitar. You think you're in a dream. You think you're like, I'm living in a dream. This is not happening. Lou.
No, Lou's the piano player.
The piano player. Yeah. That's his name. So it wasn't Lou who messed up your name?
It was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, I thought you were saying it was the guitar.
No. The guy's name is Lou, and I love Lou. For years, every time you saw Lou, you're like, Lou. So Lee's about to go on stage. He's on the side. He's at La Jolla Comedy Store. His heart is into it. And all of a sudden, Lou goes, are you guys ready for a beautiful night in La Jolla? And they clap. Yay! You know, Steve Simone's in the house. Let him hear it again. Are you ready for a great night at the Comedy Store? Yay! Coming to the stage, Mr. Lee Swat. Listen to me. And it was funny because I always ask him how he did, and he goes, I did okay. It sucked. I didn't do good or whatever. This time he was like, I bombed.
We're going in like fucking Marines. You understand me?
Welcome to church, motherfucker.